Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the mind of an Antares Moon. Dolo the Archangel Uriel. Flight boss here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're gonna talk about motherfucking Jupiter through the houses. Now, let's talk about Jupiter before we even go any deeper. Now, Jupiter represents wisdom, knowledge, experience. So it's how you're gonna understand this experience and able to place meaning and reasonings onto things that you draw from this wheel of the experience that you have it. You see what I'm saying? So Jupiter, based upon its location and where it's at, it deals with expansion. Because expansion, you can look at the astronomy of it. You see what I'm saying? It's flowing up like it's a gas ball and it's getting bigger and it's huge. So it's on its way to becoming a six-dimensional being, which it could become a star, a sun. But at the same time, when we want to talk about Jupiter, the influence and the light that shines amongst the location that you on while you being on Gaia, you see what I'm saying? You're going to receive wisdom and knowledge from that light. And that light is going to create an experience. And that through that experience, you're going to be able to add new meanings and new reasonings to experiences that you went through. Now, when you put that energy into a house, that's just based upon the signs. Now, the signs, say you got Jupiter and water. Jupiter and water represents, a person having a lot of wisdom and knowledge based upon the emotions and feelings. Being able to put meanings and reasonings and higher meanings and reasonings to their emotions and feelings. So this is where you get a lot of spiritual people, a lot of spiritual gurus. You may get a lot of preachers who got Jupiter in the water sign. You know what I'm saying? Jupiter in the earth sign. These people who got wisdom, knowledge, and they go through a lot of experiences dealing with reality and earth-like things. You know what I'm saying? So they tie all their meanings and reasonings to material, or tie all their meanings and reasonings to something external or something that they can physically see or touch, which is not a bad or a good thing to anything. But just for an example, you may have had a grandmother that died, but she gave you a chain or something. You know what I'm saying? So that chain is something that remind you of her. So that is a representation of a person who got a Jupiter in an earth sign. They like to hold on to certain things because things are higher representations than what they appear to be. And this is the higher meanings and reasonings of Jupiter and earth sign and give it. Now you got Jupiter and air. Now Jupiter and air is people who got a lot of wisdom and knowledge and able to go through a lot of experiences dealing with social awareness, communication in some type of way, relating to one another in some type of way, dealing with words in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Sticking too much on words. You see what I'm saying? And things of that nature when Jupiter goes into air, because it's gaining wisdom and knowledge and information and experience, which is an internal thing. But air is more of an external thing. You see what I'm saying? Because air has to logically think, communicate, and that has to point towards something. So it's more left brain. It's more square. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, this makes very smart people. You know what I'm saying? Very wise people. People who know how to look at the instructions, look at the details, but also see the meaning and reasoning of why these instructions and details is placed in the way that it needs to be placed like that in the first place. So these people it could go two ways. These people can overthink about the experiences that they went through, and these people can effectively communicate their experiences that they're going through very well, and their wisdom and knowledge that they have attracted from that, and the new meanings and reasonings that they have put on these circumstances, which ultimately cause expansion. Now you have Jupiter in the fire signs. Now Jupiter in the fire signs fire represents how you see and how you feel, which ultimately is visions. Because you can't see your feelings, but when someone sit back in thought and look at things and start to look and imagine things and stuff of that nature, all they're doing is giving their feelings a look, a place, and a thing. You see what I'm saying? You're just coloring your feelings. So fire signs know this the most because that's what a vision is. That's what an imagination is, based upon the realm of reality you in. So fire sign, Jupiter in fire signs is gaining wisdom and knowledge and experience when it comes towards the spirit, when it comes to ways of seeing the realm we in, or ways of feeling the ways that we in. And when those visions come there, it becomes expressive. So these people want to express their wisdom. They want to express the experiences that they went through. They want to express their knowledge. They want to express how they feel about it, and the meanings and reasonings that they will put behind it. Same way the air sign with the Jupiter there, these people like to communicate about the experiences they went through. You know what I'm saying? Communicate and think about the experiences they went through. Water signs like to feel what they went through, connect what they went through. See what I'm saying? Earth signs like to make something out of what they went through, form something out of what they went through. So let's talk about the houses now. Now, Jupiter in the first house. You know, the first house represents your personality, your personal issues, and your personal affairs, whether that's a person, place, or thing. So what happens here is when you got Jupiter in the first house, this it's going to expand this house. So not only is your personality going to be on Front Street, but you also going to put other people's personality on Front Street. And you may go through a lot of experiences. Now the experience is going to be good or bad based upon your level of consciousness or based upon how you look at the world. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, through good or bad experiences, you're still able to gain wisdom and knowledge and put new meanings and reasonings to things, which ultimately is expansion, what Jupiter is. So at the same time, in the first house, you're going to go through a lot of personal issues, a lot of personal situations, a lot of personal things going on with your personal affairs. But at the same time, you're very wise. You carry a wise personality, a well-versed personality, a person who know how to personally construct themselves amongst other personalities, amongst other people's personal issues, and amongst other people's personal affairs. Now you got Jupiter in the second house. Jupiter in the second house. This is when you have the second house is the things that you value, whether that's a person, place, or thing, or what you have to offer to the world, whether that's internally or externally. Internally, it could be a hidden gift, talent, an idea, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you have. Externally, it could be a person, place, or thing. But what you value and what you have to offer to the world is how you plant seeds in the world. And the seeds that you plant ultimately help your self-esteem. So this is the house of values. You can even value material things in the second house. But Jupiter here is going to bring expansion. So it's going to bring a lot of experiences when it comes to dealing with money, when it comes to dealing with people that you value. Now, you have to value them. You see what I'm saying? It's going to bring a lot of experiences when it comes to the people, places, and things that you value. It's going to bring a lot of experiences when it comes to what you have to offer to the world. You may even experience a lot of failure, things that you thought you can do and you couldn't do, because it's just expanding that realm. You may even find a lot of support sometimes. But throughout these experiences, you're gaining enough wisdom and knowledge, so and putting new meaning and reasonings to things. And ultimately, you're going to be able to teach someone else something about this area of life. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gaining so much knowledge from it. You experience so much. You can teach somebody else about their values, someone else about what they have to offer to the world. You may see something in somebody else that's very bright. You see what I'm saying? Now let's get to Jupiter in the third house. Now Jupiter don't even really like to be in the third house. This is the opposite house that it's usually at. But Jupiter in the third house right here, this is your surroundings, what you're familiar with. And it has to be in your familiar realm. If it's something you ain't familiar with, then that's not what it is. But it could be a gift, a talent, a trait. You know what I'm saying? Also the people, places, and things that you're familiar with, and your surroundings, the things that you're surrounded by. So off the bat, when you got Jupiter in the third house, now this is going to bring a lot of wisdom and knowledge when it comes there. But wisdom and knowledge is more internal. You know what I'm saying? It's more dealing with the experience. It's more observing. It's more seeing things and experiencing it, unless people understand it that way. But at the same time, when you got it in the third house, that's dealing with social awareness. That might be dealing with neighbors. That might be dealing with close friends. That might be dealing with on full contact communication. And when you having full contact conversation and you're constantly into things and constantly doing things in the neighborhood and not really having no time to yourself, you're not truly gaining no wisdom or knowledge. And that's why Jupiter is kind of scattered in the third house. But at the same time, this gives you a lot of wisdom and knowledge based upon your surroundings. You experience a lot of things. You went through a lot of things in your surroundings, in your location, whatever you went through or whatever you did. You see what I'm saying? And you was able to gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge based upon your surroundings and able to put new meanings and reasonings to life in general based upon your surroundings. You see what I'm saying? Now, Jupiter in the fourth house. Jupiter loves to be here because Jupiter actually is exalted here. So with Jupiter being here in the fourth house is dealing with home, family, domestic issues, private issues, how you gain emotional stability amongst yourself or wherever you feel most comfortable at, whether that's a friend, relative, or your own home. So when you have Jupiter here, it gets to expand here. It gets to actually see what's actually going on and add the wisdom and knowledge. When it's based upon, say, a domestic issue, they're able to take themselves outside, make themselves look at it like from an outside looking in point of view, and able to come to a conclusion, an optimistic conclusion that no one else could came over. Just like these people can bring family together, bring friends together, create a expansive home, a home that's dealing with a lot of wisdom and knowledge, home that's dealing with morals, homes that's dealing with, so it may be a lot of heavy religious people may even have Jupiter in the fourth house, or if they're not religious, they probably bring a lot of spirituality in the fourth house, or people who just add higher meanings and reasons to things. You could be a person who don't believe in anything at all, but say you got something going on in your life, or you got children or something like that, and you tie that to a higher reason. You might say your your place of duty in the world is your reason why you could come back home all the time. You know what I'm saying? So whatever higher reason you turn it to, at the same time, this is just the same energy. Energy don't care about how you look at it, or what place it came, or who created what, or what around it. The energy is still the energy, and that's one thing you can't fight. Period. Regardless of what realm or reality, how it looked, or what language is used around it. You see what I'm saying? But it's all the same shit. So when you talk about Jupiter in the fourth house, it brings a lot of comfort and expansion in the home, and a lot of relativity and relativeness with the relationships dealing with the home and private issues. And a lot of wisdom is known to be in the private issues also, because private is when it's time to yourself, or when you are one on one, or like things like family that you're tied in by yourself. That's any time that you're vibrating to yourself is a form of currency. So at the same time, this is when we're dealing with Jupiter. It gets to do that its best in the fourth house. It's like a kid at Disneyland, but it can overexhaust itself. So you don't want to overexpand and be too much in the home, overexpand and be too much in the, you know what I'm saying, too much in your comfort zone, not too scared to leave the nest and things of that nature with Jupiter in the fourth house. See, it can overexhaust itself. Now Jupiter in the fifth house. Now Jupiter in the fifth house is dealing with um entertainment, all three forms of entertainment, like how you're entertained, how you choose to entertain, and also the things that how you entertain, basically. I said that wrong. How you entertain, the things you're entertained by, and the things you choose to entertain, whether that's a person, place, or thing, or a conversation. You see what I'm saying? Then you got how you entertain. You might be an entertaining person or not. Then you got the things you're entertained by, like shows, movies, the things you may be into. See what I'm saying? So when you talk about, it's actually how you express yourself also. This is the expressive house. So for an example, you might be in a football, you might be in a basketball. I wouldn't know that if you don't express yourself in that way. So the fifth house, if you got a sign or a planet there that's telling me that you're into sports, then I know the way you express yourself is you may dress with a football jersey. You may have football jersey posters on your wall or whatever like that. But this is just forms of showing you the fifth house represents how you express yourself. You see what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm the flight boss, and how I express myself is wearing a flight boss hat, you know, whatever, or calling myself a flight boss and things of that nature. So that's how I express myself. Now, when you talk about it's also your fun, how you have fun, and it's also your creative energy, the thing how you creatively put things together and things of that nature. So off the back, this is what you need to know when you got Jupiter here. It's going to expand this, but it's going to put you in a lot of experiences with dealing with ways of expressing yourself. A lot of times you may express yourself in times that it wasn't needed. Then you may not express yourself in times that it was needed. You know what I'm saying? You may be entertained by all type of philosophies, probably religion or spirituality or astrology or occult or mysticism, just like a lot of stuff, even technology to a certain degree, science. These are things you're going to be entertained by, and mysticism, and kind of supernatural type stuff. That's the type of stuff you're going to be entertained by with Jupiter here. Stuff that can expand your mind in some type of way. That's not dealing with too much logic. but dealing with just, the behind the scenes type information. Then you got it expands your fun. So a lot of times you may feel, sometimes you may overburn yourself out with fun or creating to the point that you create a lot of children and things of that nature. But you're very expansive and you're very wise because you went through a lot of experiences with dealing with creating something, or being creative or having fun, and having fun at one time and everything happened went wrong and had a bad experience, and then learning how to have fun without bad experiences and stuff, like going through a lot of things of that nature. Like, it's just a whole loophole that the way Jupiter come and give you wisdom and knowledge with it being in the fifth house. Now Jupiter in the sixth house. Now with Jupiter in the sixth house is your work or whatever you're working on, your health, your routine, things you do on a day-to-day basis. Also, is dealing with how you criticize, and or when you criticizing yourself and the things you're looking at the details of. So when you got Jupiter here, Jupiter is giving you a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experiences when it comes to work. You may be a person who experienced a lot of jobs or experienced a lot of things when you have to be on schedule. You may even experience jail. You know what I'm saying? Because Jupiter gives a sense of taking away at times, and then it's dealing with expansion. So if you're dealing with the opposite end of the experience, say it might represent a negative experience. It might be a situation where you have to feel caged in. So regardless of your life or whatever like that, whether you was caged in a jail cell or caged in a relationship or caged in whatever, Jupiter in the sixth house will bring that experience in order for you to gain wisdom and knowledge to understand how to, override that energy, because it dives in and gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge there. Also, when you talk about the experiences with criticizing, experiences with details, sometimes Jupiter overlooked details because it's so big. So it might be very scattered minded in the sixth house a lot of times, not being able to see the details, not being able to see the realm of reality that it really needs to see, and it might be trying to add too many meanings and reasonings to things that don't necessarily need a large or high meaning or reasoning to it. And things might just be more reality based for Jupiter in the sixth house. So a lot of times, but it could be a benefit there because you can use your imagination, you can use your spirit or your wisdom and knowledge and your experience to help you in whatever work field you in, whatever job you in, or whatever you're working on, or however, whatever on your schedule, routine, task, and things of that nature. Now we're gonna get to Jupiter in the eighth house. Now with Jupiter in the eighth house, this is the behind the scenes. This is the behind the scenes realm. This is for the behind the scenes realm. This is for the realm of things you are in the dark about. So things you may be intrigued about, taboo type things. You know what I'm saying? And things can revolve around life, death, sex, greed, jealousy, motivation, passion, desire. You know what I'm saying? Mysticism, occult, astrology. And mysticism ain't nothing but being able to communicate with the unknown. For an example, you might know how someone feels. So they may be saying a bunch of things. But at the same time, you may do something for them that was actually the root cause of what was causing them to say all those things. So you just communicate, and then they be like, dang, you must have read my mind or something like that. Nah, it's just a pattern, but you just communicated with the unknown. So that's mysticism. So regardless of what's all the titles and everything around that, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, that's what mysticism is as a totality. When we talk about a cult, that's just a group of any being doing things behind closed doors, letting it be a little bit more sacred. Everybody does that. When you have sex, that's an occult energy. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? So, because it's behind closed doors. But if you don't do it behind closed doors or whatever like that, it's not a cult, which is how, really how things really supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? But that's another video. At the same time, we want to talk about, because there's really no such thing as behind closed doors anyway. That's something that was created. But let's get off to a whole other video. You know what I'm saying? That was for the cult to even become a cult. You know what I'm saying? But all this is tied to the same energy because this is 8th house stuff. 8th house we're talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? So Jupiter here gives you a lot of expansion here, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge here. a lot of enlightenment here, a lot of experience here. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have to experience going through manipulative situations with others, manipulative people, people who have put walls over your eyes based upon the amount of trust that you may have for them and things of that nature. Jupiter is going to make sure you experience all this in order to gain the wisdom and knowledge out of this, you know, and able to put new perspectives and new meanings and reasonings on this area of life, which may be dark and transformative at times, or power control at times. Now we want to talk about Jupiter in the ninth house. Now Jupiter loves being in the ninth house. Now Jupiter gains, hold on, I skipped the house too, didn't I? I skipped the seventh house. We got to go back to the seventh house. Now Jupiter in the seventh house. Jupiter in the seventh house. Now the seventh house is your relationships, how you relate to people, places, and things. And it's also your relationships of all sorts. Your siblings, your friends, your mate, whatever. So when we talk about Jupiter being here, it expands this house. So off the back, you're going to go through a lot of experiences dealing with relationships and dealing with learning how to relate to people, places, and things effectively. So even if the experience is bad or good, regardless, these are going to be the experiences that's actually attracting and actually what you actually see in your life. So when you look, he's going to play closer. If you got Jupiter in the seventh house, you're gaining most of your wisdom and knowledge from your relationships. This is how you get. This is where people learn the most. This is where the people talk about, man, I learned the most I ever learned from the past relationship I was in. You'll get people saying this with Jupiter in the seventh house. People who, and then the things that they relate to as far as people, places, and things, they relate to spirited people, people who could think broad-minded, people who can think with a philosophical mind, people who can put metaphors together, people who know how to understand, people who know how to relate. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. That's what Jupiter likes to do in the seventh house. Someone who can relate their experiences real well, relate their meanings and reasonings real well, relate their way of expressing their wisdom and knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Everything dealing with relationships and being relatable will relating to the wisdom and relating to the experience and relating to the wisdom and knowledge that Jupiter expands here. Now, when you have Jupiter, you got Jupiter. Now, let's go to the ninth house. Now, Jupiter in the ninth house. Jupiter is going to bring a lot of wisdom. Now, what is the ninth house? Ninth house is higher education, higher learning, long distance travel, whether that's internally or externally. Internally could be in the mind or going within, or however you want to call it. Externally could be a person, place, or thing actually going out in the physical realm. You know what I'm saying? That's externally. So traveling with a person, place, or thing, which is a car or whatever like that. And it's which you're consciously going to be aware of, which is your experiences also, because it kind of play out like the sun on the opposite end. Also, when we want to talk about Jupiter, Jupiter is going to play out in a situation where in the ninth house is going to make you wise about all education. So not only are you going to be smart, but you're going to be like, I don't want to call it street smart, but y'all know what I mean. Like it's going to be, you're going to be smart life wise. You know what I'm saying? Having life skills. You know what I'm saying? As opposed into having the skills that you need for a program that you will jump into based upon, you know what I'm saying, a title that you may have when you go to college and things of that nature. But at the same time, is this Jupiter expands that energy. And you, it's like your free will if you want to do these things or not, but you can pick up on it real fast. You got expansion on it real fast. You see the broad, you add a lot of meanings and reasonings to the broad philosophical points of views of the world. You add a lot, you gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge from your experiences. You see what I'm saying? You learn a lot from your education. And this is what you do when you got Jupiter in the ninth house. Now you got Jupiter in the 10th house. Now, Jupiter in the 10th house represent what you're known for, how you're seen, and your status, which those three come together could ultimately become your career. So with Jupiter here in the 10th house, Jupiter is going to give you a lot of wisdom and knowledge in the 10th house, but it needs you to make sure that you experience. So you may experience being seen in ways that you don't want to be seen. You may experience certain statuses that you got to uphold just for the sake of upholding it, and not being sure if that's you or not. People may see you in ways that you don't feel like you are seen, but you're going to be seen as a wise person, seen as a person with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? But see, that could go on two different ends. You know what I'm saying? Because other people could look at you as over preaching, over teaching, And that's what people know you for. See, Jupiter will bring that out of a person. So it'll make you over teachy, over preachy. So it'll be received on a negative end. Then, but on the flip side, that's the experiences that Jupiter is going to put you in through so you can develop and understand how you're seen and what you're known for and which ultimately is your status. And Jupiter is going to make sure it puts you through the right circumstances and situations that you experience that. So you can know this is how you're seen and you can know how to override these energies. And you can know, okay, this is, you'll be wise, you have wisdom, you have knowledge on how you're seen and how people perceive you, other than how you think you're coming across. You see what I'm saying? So that's Jupiter in the 10th house. Now you have Jupiter in the 11th house. The 11th house deals with how you conduct yourself in the public arena in all sorts. Anytime you're in the public, and it's dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar. Now the unknown is like science, astrology, occult, mysticism, technology. Like, even though we say these things are known, but they still in the realm of reality that we have to put them in one box of unknown, because there are things that's still trying to be figured out and worked through. So this is the unknown realm of reality. Then we talk about the unfamiliar, which unfamiliar is like distant relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandfathers, grandmothers. Also, this is dealing with the associates, friends, like associate friends that you don't hang with every day, but every other day. Being part of an organization or association, which if you got a job or you work, you know what I'm saying? Now, what you're actually working on would be in the 6th house, or your work job in general. But you being at your job, the location of it, that's when it falls into an 11th house. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about the 11th house, Jupiter here, you're going to go through a lot of experiences. You may go through a lot of embarrassing moments in the public, or you may have experienced being teachy and preachy, or being too reserved. But either way, these experiences you're gonna be very wise about how to conduct yourself in the public arena at some point in time in your life. You're gonna be very, very wise on how to deal with uh, relatives and associates, and families and distant and things of that nature. You're gonna be very wise and very informative and experienced and well versed when it comes to science, astrology, occult, mysticism. You know what I'm saying? Technology. This is where you like to dive and get your information from. This is like the things you want to gain wisdom from. This is the things you want to put meanings and reasonings behind. You like to put meanings and reasonings behind everything, even in the public place that you at. You like to feel like you're there for an actual reason. And every time you do that, you're able to extract meaning and reasoning and wisdom and knowledge from these experiences and circumstances. Now, let's talk about Jupiter in the 12th house. Now, with Jupiter in the 12th house, Jupiter loves to be here also. It loves to be in the 9th and the 12th house because it rules these houses. Well, it's under the ruler of these houses. So, now, with 12th house is your subconscious realm. How you already subconsciously act, how you already subconsciously do things. So, off the bat, how you already subconsciously act is like, you ever been somewhere and you was trying to do something, but that thing kept popping in your head that make you want to go back and do that? Like, man, I can't wait till I go home and do that, whatever, like that. That's the things you feel comfortable with doing. That's your subconscious. The things you like to subconsciously do. Things you already That's just like you already got you subconsciously got a favorite food or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, the 12th house with Jupiter here, you're able to have wisdom and knowledge based upon your dreams, illusions, creativity, your imagination, your fantasy realm. You know what I'm saying? You're able to have a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience when it comes to that realm. So a lot of times you may even want to find yourself to yourself, but you find yourself knowing how to relate with wisdom with others, because the 12th house is like the collective conscious from behind the scenes, like not just what a person is saying, and not just what they're saying, and not just what they're doing, but what's the energy you getting from it? Did it make you feel good, or did it make you feel negative? You know what I'm saying? Then you have to find that source. You know what I'm saying? You have to find the source of, okay, why that was negative or why that was positive. And then once you see all the contradictions and shit in that, and then you just boil it down to one point of perspective, then you really be able to understand that when Jupiter is able to understand this realm than anybody else in the 12th house. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gaining wisdom and knowledge based upon the subconscious. And the subconscious is subjective. because everybody has their own subconscious. Everybody got their own subjective way at looking at this realm of reality. And that's what it really all boils down to. You see what I'm saying? So with Jupiter in the 12th house, it makes a person have understanding of that, have wisdom of that, have knowledge of that, and have experienced many different lives and many different roles and many different positions to understand that a lot of times this experience, the person, place, or thing isn't the issue. It's the energetic force that's being received and being taught is the issue. And who's in one or the other issue. You know what I'm saying? Because we only dish out what we are. You see what I'm saying? We only dish out what we are. So when you dish out something subconsciously, you subconsciously dishing out what you are. And 12th house Jupiter in the 12th house understands this. You see what I'm saying? It understands this. So I can't with Jupiter in the 12th house, I can't truly say you are this or you are that because I have universal collective conscious of understanding that everyone has that right to have that. And that's the only objective. So with the Jupiter have wisdom and knowledge based upon that realm. This is why you have a lot of spiritual people with the, Jupiter in the 12th house. People, gurus, people who get into many different things, whether whatever filter that they get into, if they don't, or even if they don't have a filter at all. With Jupiter in the 12th house, just access that part of the mind, just access that part to the point you don't want to gain wisdom and knowledge about reality. You only want to gain wisdom and knowledge about the illusion, about the imagination. You know what I'm saying? And really, imagination is really where the magic waits. Flight bus, bitch, goddamn air.